And hello, good people of the internet. It is I, Tommy Kelly, and this is Adventures in Woo Woo. This episode is another one of those one-card divination 40 servants videos that I do every month for patrons. This month, though, we have questions coming in from the people on Discord because the patrons were quiet this month and we didn't have enough questions that would fill an entire video. So such is the hierarchy of things, I suppose. Patron first, Discord second, and then the rest. We got a lot of questions from Discord, so we didn't have to go to the rest. I am in a place called Claremont Pass, which is kind of between, I suppose, Dundalk and Newry. So it's somewhere close to the border between Ireland and Northern Ireland. And it's a lovely little place. I can see the loch from here. And the only thing that kind of takes away from the aesthetic of being in a kind of a valley, because I'm surrounded by these massive high mountains, really, really cool, is the TV aerial that's up there, which gives us, or transmits to us, our TV stations, the RTEs, the Radio Telefisharan. At least that's what I think it is. That's what I've always told it is. Maybe it's some sort of UFO communication device or something. Who's to say? So I'm going to start with the questions from Patreon, and see how it goes. So it's like picking up wind a bit here, so hopefully it won't be as bad as the last time when I did these, or the Q&A on the beach. My apologies if it is. And just make sure I'm in focus and everything's on. Good to go. So the first question is from Abraxas, and he wants to know what is going on. The opposer. So what is going on is that, if you mean on a personal level to you, which is probably how I read it rather than a general what is going on, then there's opposition, external opposition, not internal opposition. The opposer, as I'm sure you know Abraxas, but I'll speak to the people that don't, is external agency. It could be law, it could be people, it's external rules, external... Have I said external enough? It's those things outside ourselves that have control over, such as things like laws, like your boss at work, or gravity, any of these things. But it's an opposition, something opposing you from outside, rather than say the devil, who is the kind of the shadow, the thing within you, the limiting beliefs that you are bringing to the table to creation and manifesting through. So what is going on, Abraxas, is that there's opposition, and that may be a global scale, or maybe personal scale, or both. Okay. Ghost Pubes, what a name. Should I buy a house as soon as possible? Should I buy a house as soon as possible? The fortunate would say yes, you should, that it would be a good fortunate thing to do, and that it would be a good move for your benefit to do so. I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I in any way qualified to answer that on a personal level. I can only tell you what the card said. Who knows what the future is going to be like when it comes to real estate or property of any description, personal properties. But the cards say buying a house soon seems a good fortunate move for you. Luando Love. Oh no, that's a question I'm going to... She was asking about, or he was, I don't know, the Necronomicon, and I will do that in the question and answer video, which will be next week. Steve Graves. I've been hanging out with a friend of mine, friend of a friend. We had... Hold on till I increase the opacity, the brightness of my phone. I've been hanging out with a friend of a friend. We've had a long conversation about magic and ideology. We have similar views, and they've brought up things I haven't ever considered. We have been sharing each other's practices. The other day it dawned on me that they might be the mentor that I've wanted but never searched for. So my question, is this my mentor? This is kind of a yes or no question, so I'm just going to go with it as a yes or no question, unless something pops out more than that. The Explorer. Hold on, what's that telling me? I would suggest the Explorer to say no, it's not the mentor you've been looking for, that you need to search a bit more, that there is some sort of part of you that needs more discovery, that you have to go out rather than limiting yourself to, oh, this is the first kind of interesting person you've met who could be a mentor. is not necessarily the person who's ultimately meant to be your mentor. It's just showing you that perhaps there's room for a mentor in your life. But the explorer would suggest that there's a lot more unknown out there that you have to, interact with and see before you maybe limit yourself. That's what I would suggest. So that is all we had from Patreon. So we will go into Discord. Discord's great. If you're not in it, you should join it. So, Dara F. Dara has a great podcast, Spirit Box, that I will put the links in the show description, or just search Spirit Box. I was on it as one of his guests. He's also on an episode of Rude Soup, which you should check out. But he asks, will the economic situation get worse or better across winter? I assume you mean on a global scale rather than your personal scale. Although, one is found within the other and all that. So, the Master. Okay, so the Master is the highest possible expression of what we can be, in that it's the goal that we are looking for, the thing that we are trying to evolve towards, if you want to use that type of language. It's our best person, our best version. It's when we know all the things, when we've gone through all the things and we realise what it is. And there's no kind of, with the Master, there's no going back. You can't slip back. You can't unsee the things. You can't unlearn the things. You're the fully evolved psyche, spirit, whatever it is. So in relation, the question I would say, will the economic get worse or better across winter, is that the economic situation will be as perfect an expression of what the economic situation needs to be this winter, given, to borrow one of Gordon's terms, the point in the timeline. So it's moving towards something that it's meant to move towards, or is it to be its highest expression of that thing. Leave that with you. That seems slightly out of my pay grade. Aidan, what is something I could do to propel my life forward? I felt stagnant and I've been doing everything I know to change it. Stagnancy, it can be an illusion, incidentally, particularly in spiritual work or magic work or whatever, where, not to go too, footprints, Jesus carrying you along the beach type of thing, but the points where you're stagnant or where you think you're not going anywhere can often be the place where, you go, just life caught up or whatever, but that's where the learning, or that's where the seeds are that develop into something else. It may not be the case with you. You might just be genuinely stagnating, but let's see what the cards say. Oh, here we go. The Protector. So, you need to protect yourself. What would you need to protect yourself for? Protect yourself from feeling that you should be in a place different from where you are. Feeling that you should be at a higher level, that you should be further along your spiritual path than you are. That you're wasting your time. That things are being wasted. That you're running out of time, or you're not keeping up with the Joneses. It's an American phrase. We don't really use that here, but I assume we all know what it means. That you can kind of feel that I'm missing out, or I'm not learning the lessons, or I'm not progressing in the way I want. And the suggestion is to protect yourself from that, given, I suppose, what I said, that stagnation isn't always stagnation in what we think it is. And it could be rest, it could be, between levels, it could be any of these type of things. But I would say, there's people stopping here to have a look at me. So I'd say, yeah, just be wary about that, and be not too concerned about, or to be, sorry, I'm being a bit distracted, just to be, protect yourself around feeling that stagnation is a bad thing. See what this guy's gonna do. Stop. Sorry about that, Aidan. I did get very distracted there, but a very nice man arrived. He was the farmer who obviously owns these mountains around here, and his sheep had escaped, and he was trying to make sure that they had got back into their pen, as all that. It was very nice. He was very pleasant. But so to encapsulate that better without the distraction, is that the stagnancy that you feel, you need to protect yourself against that, feeling that it's necessarily a bad thing, or that you're missing out, or that you're losing, or that you aren't progressing in the way that that you would want to. So, Mate Bende, just the usual, am I on the right track now? So Mate, we're going to get a yes or no type thing for you, unless of course something pops out, like we did with the Explorer in the previous question. There's your card. And it's the Protector. Yeah, this happens, obviously, if you've seen these before, that the same card comes out a number of times. Am I on the right track now? Just protect yourself. There's an element of protection that's needed. Doesn't mean you're not on the right track, obviously. You just need to protect yourself from something, so just be aware of the need for protection. It very much jumped out of the deck for me there, so be aware of that. Nuggin. Here's an easy one. Ask them which of them I should next look to for existence and why. Well, let me see what to say. The why will be because of their nature, of course. Like there's yeah, you know that. Fortunate. So you need to be more fortunate, or to have more. Here we go. You need to have a more positive attitude about your life and your life situation and the future and people or whatever it is. So that you should help with, or should work with the fortunate to improve your positive outlook. That's the sense I get from that. Sir Echo, am I done with the letting things go part of my path? Simmer never. Free of that. Although maybe when you become a complete, enlightened, awakened human being, trademark, copyright, 2020, you may. You didn't ask me. Ask the cards. The librarian. That would suggest there's more knowledge to be gained, or that there is something more to seek, that there's more information than necessarily what you're looking at. So no, you're not probably in the finish of the letting go. There is more things to be discovered, more things to be categorized, more things to be put in their place, or in your case removed from your place, or more, you have to glean more information, possibly study something. Funky Pumpkin, what must I change to get the results I seek from my practice? Again, incidentally, using the Brazilian deck. I like it. You probably noticed from the names and the cards. It shuffles well. So, to reiterate the question, what must I change to get the results I seek from my practice? The Tinker. The Tinker is a card that's coming up an awful lot recently. Different kind of, come up a lot in the Facebook one, and I've mentioned it a few times to a few other people. It's a must overlooked card. Particularly in Magic, because we have a tendency to want to be the seer. Because that, you know, we've been told that we live too much in the thinking, in the rationality, and that the seer is kind of, you know, more your intuition, these type of things. But the Thinker is a very important element. This is to say the skeptic, or the rational, or the Vulcan, or the Spock element of us. And that is something then that you have to kind of cultivate and hang around with and look with, and become more rational, more skeptical in your involvement with the woo. Not the kind of dismissive way, in a proper skeptical of all things, including the things you believe, including the things that seem to be true. Be a bit less credulous in that, you know, easy to believe these things. You know, be a bit more discerning, be a bit more rational about these things. You know, the aim of religion and method of science would be more along the method of science than the aim of religion. Still have your aim of religion, or whatever way you want to word that type of thing. But maybe, you know, Magic Diary, start doing the experiments, start putting stuff down, listing everything, make sure that everything's in order, and start looking at your results. Have a bit more of a scientific approach to it. Okay, Abraxas again. Already asked a legit question on Patreon, which we answered. Here's one for fun, just in case you need to fill more time. Who's the most powerful servant? Well, now. Let's see who decides to play. Who do you think is the most powerful servant? I know who I think, but... That's a good answer. The Moon. The most powerful servant is the one that can fool you. So, Maya illusion, that which is drawn over your eyes, that which is the fake sun in the dark sky, is the most powerful thing. Very interesting. I like that answer. Crow. Will my husband's next eye surgery be the last one? Let's see. Again, we're going for a yes or no. The father. Okay. The father is the thing that there's sometimes you have to go through stuff that's just part of life. And that if kind of avoiding it is a lot where struggle, pain, and things. It's like trying to avoid the heartbreak of a relationship falling apart by constantly trying to keep that relationship going rather than finishing the relationship and going through the hardship. So the suggestion in this that possibly mightn't be that there might be a bit more that needs to happen, a bit more that needs to be endured. I'm not like in a massive negative way, just that this is the nature of these things, that there's a bit more to go through than just trying to get it out of the way as quickly as possible. It doesn't mean, again, I want to reiterate that it's definitely not that there's going to be problems or that something is going to go wrong or that whatever the eye surgery is not going to be successful, but that it might just take a bit longer to heal, or then I'm being attacked by flies now, or something like that. But some element of that there's still part of this that needs to be endured rather than ignored for it to go away, and ultimately will go away because that's the nature of these things. So not the one answer you want, but I drink tea. Hi Tommy. It is my idea for will my idea for a project come to a successful fruition? These are tough questions because you have to define what successful fruition in that. Does it make lots of money for you? Does it, say you were writing a book, you could write the book and not successful, it might be popular and no one might like it. So it depends on what your definition of successful fruition is. And here we go, it's the moon again. There's something about this you're not seeing correctly. And there's an element of, you see, hope is a dangerous thing, as we all know, in that you can come back to a bit what I said to Crow about the father. You can kind of set yourself up to increased hardship than you need by wanting things to be different than they actually are, or wanting life to behave in a different way than what it is. So in this case, there's some form of delusion or something you're not seeing, or possibly lies, although it doesn't seem to be along those ways, that and maybe it's kind of coming into play. But what do you define success as? What are you hoping? I think what it's trying to point at is that you're hoping to have a feeling, or you're hoping possibly that this project is going to in some way make you feel a certain way or achieve something, like change you within yourself, and that you will in some way, this is very strange because it's coming out very odd, but that you'll in some way change as a person for the better by the result of this project. And it's suggestion that the project could be massively successful, but that thing you were looking for out of it, that impulse or that drive or that kind of thing that you're looking at, is not to be got from this thing. If I'm not explaining that correctly, talk to me on Discord and we'll go through it a bit more. Stitch lightly. Where should I direct more of my focus? The idea, new ideas, creativity, new things, rather than trying to rehash old things or trying the same things from a different angle or any of those things. It's to ultimately to completely new, fresh approach to things, to do things that you wouldn't normally do. It's like if you're a guitar player, learn the piano. Even though it's still in the same kind of, it's still music and you're still an instrument, but it's going to bring you a completely different approach to the guitar than you normally would, which I have found, now that I've spent an awful lot of time on the piano, that my kind of, how limited you are in guitar by your kind of chord voicings, say, that are kind of the standard chords that are just not in piano. And then when you apply them to piano stuff to guitar, it just opens up a whole new kind of vista or avenue towards how you approach the guitar that you would never get from just going through it as guitar alone. Maybe not, but unlikely to get through going through guitar alone. So if you want to write a book, kind of a biography, perhaps fiction is something that you need to look at too, and how characters are built through fiction in such a way and described that might be helpful towards biography. Or go completely out there and, if you're a plumber, go listen to opera because there might be something in it. But it's completely new, fresh approach, new ideas, all the things, rather than rather than trying to do the same thing over and over again. Come back to the guitar. If it's guitar, rather than just practicing scales all the time, go spend some time on the piano. That kind of thing. So, IDCT 321. This is my birthday month. Should I start using the crap out of people suing the crap out of the people on my list? And yes, they are hella guilty for breaking laws, and I have an attorney ready, or wait a bit longer. Okay. I have no... obviously, I don't have the full information, so what's my opinion counting any of this? See what the cards say. The media. So you need to get your story together, your approach together, your public relations, how you're going to be seen. You need to get all that put together properly to go into this. So no, just not yet. Get your case better sorted, better compiled. Get your approach. What you're doing, what your actual goal is, how you're going to be seen, what it is the actual, if you're reading it in the newspaper, how would it be just judged by other people? What is that you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve? Would it be vindictive? Would it be for trying to seek justice and all that kind of? At the minute, it may be muddled a bit, so that you just have to get more coherency around your approach and how that looks and how that would appear, and then ultimately the better approach and appearance that you have around it, the more likely it is to be successful. Like, you don't want to come out looking like the bad person. If you're going to try and win, that you want to come out looking as the good person, and so rushing into it may allow for it to be you come out looking like the bad person, if that makes sense. Electro Wizard, when does my next adventure start? Every day, man, when you get up in the morning. Okay, there's a card that wants to come out. The Tinker. It's a really strange way, like out of 40 cards, randomness. So it's 40, X39, X38, 37, blah, 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 that it could be, given that I'm, actually shuffling them correctly. But isn't it odd that so many cards come out the same? The Tinker. Your next adventure begins when you become slightly more rational and skeptical and have a more analytical approach. When you think about it from an actual realistic point of view rather than an intuitive feeling perspective. That's when you have that kind of notion around you, when you have that kind of energy around you, when you decide to actually think it out, what is the best thing for me on paper, and have a look at that rather than... Because the thing about that, when you do that, the problem with the seer and being intuitive and going with gut feelings is that you can end up avoiding the things that make you feel uncomfortable. And because you can go, oh, that's just not right for me. It's like, oh, I better not do that public speaking because it's just not right for me. I have this feeling in my stomach, my intuition. But it's not, you're just scared. And it could be right for you. So when you need the kind of the yang, yin of the thinker to kind of put, no, this is the right thing for me. I'm just fucking scared and I need to get over that. So I'm not saying you're scared of public speaking. You're obviously not, because you're all of your audio equipment and stuff that you're moving into. So something, think about what you're avoiding, I suppose, and using that's not right for me now as an excuse. And when you find that thing, do it. That's way easier said than done. So that's all the questions I have as of the moment that I last looked at my phone. So if you come in late, my apologies. We'll try and do it again next month. So sorry for that kind of farmer interlude. It was really strange. Last time I did a video here, it was like, I think I was doing the since deleted Peter Kingsley's Story Weird, the Pierce You study group thing, because he wasn't happy with me doing it. In a friendly kind of, not really nasty way or anything, but I think I was doing that, and it was like an army truck came, and it was, it was very strange. But yeah, it's one of these places that you're literally in the middle of nowhere, but obviously people stop because it's kind of the car park here of sorts, and a picnic table. But a lovely river down here, and another little hollow that has just been dumped, loads of stuff dumped in it. Like someone came up with a work van, dumped concrete, cement, wooden floors been thrown over there, and it's just, I don't know, it really annoys me, especially when I go to the forest and stuff, pointing that way, it's actually over that way, but and you know, you can see people who've camped or whatever, and just cans everywhere, and crisps packets, and chips for the Americans, and just, you know, no one cleaning up after them, and just kind of assuming someone else will look after that. No one taking responsibility for themselves or the world for anything that's going on. And that certainly seems to be the zeitgeist, or the spirit of the age at the moment. Alan Chapman talks a bit about that recently, so it's in my mind, but it's definitely, you can see it and things like that. Anyway, you don't care about, well, you should care about that, but you don't care about your local kind of clean-up. That thing of everyone cleaning up their own beach thing is really good. But problem now with cleaning up stuff is, of course, with the added, you know, coronavirus element, that you're afraid to touch things. So I clean up less than I should. I should bring gloves with me and just clean stuff. Anyway, way off the topic. Good people of the internet, thank you for spending some time with me this morning as I do some card readings with you. Again, don't take them as advice from a friend, not divine knowledge. You know, and if you don't like the answer, work on, you know, getting the answer you want. And may our best days be ahead, and may you all be really, really, really well. See you soon.